Hey, this is Jason and Henry of Father and Son Gaming. We're going to give you directions on our V1 launch site. Recommend you kind of lay out all your pieces like we have here. I'm going to go over what the things are. This is sort of the base. You can kind of see that there are two pieces to it that will fit together. These are the tops that represent the launch rails. There's three of those. These boxes right here, you'll make three of these that kind of make that rectangular launch structure. Notice that two of these have sort of these male joinery on it, and four of them have that female joinery on it. These ones will be the middle. These will be the end, and I'll cover that in a little more detail as we go. You'll also have these sort of side these just glue onto the sides of the three rectangular boxes you're going to make. They're not really structural. They just give detail and they hide some of the joints. These are four structures to elevate your model, to prop it up on a slope. You will basically just glue these into this right here. Then we've got the handrails, which go up alongside the platform. That was not something that typically was historically part of this structure, but it makes it a little more gamey, so you can have models climb that and maybe get a good vantage point to shoot your enemies. Or maybe you can make it into a scenario where they have to destroy the structure by getting to the top of it. This is also a little piece that goes on the end here, so that's more railing. Okay, these pieces right here, these are probably some of the more complex ones. All right, these little pieces here you'll discard. In my research for designing this piece, the ends of the rectangular tubes had this shape right here with a circle in the end. So these will be the ends of the boxes you're going to make, and then you'll just glue this on the bottom end and top end to kind of close that box up. All right, the first thing you're going to want to do is assemble these box-shaped launch rail, I guess is what I'm going to call it. There are very subtle differences between these three boxes, so you're not going to want to screw this up. The joinery on the ends, middle, and far end are all a little different. I'm going to start with this center piece right here. We're going to start from building this from the bottom, but it is symmetrical, so it really doesn't matter. Make sure the bottom piece of the lower launch rail has this little tab sticking out for joinery, because look at the differences. This has to be facing toward the end, and then this one here has no joinery piece on it. Then in the middle, this piece has no joinery piece sticking out. This piece has no joinery piece sticking out. But these side parts of the rail do have a joinery piece sticking out. So you'll assemble this. And finally, you'll assemble this box, which does have the little joinery piece sticking out on the end there. You'll have two of these, which make up the ends of the launch rail. So we'll make three boxes out of these. Okay, so at this point, you should have three boxes. On the end of two of the boxes, you're going to put these pieces. On the ends of those, if you've done everything right, you should have a notch. You should have a notch here on the ends of the two pieces that have this end cap on them. That's going to leave you with a middle piece. The middle piece should have these two little tabs pointing outward. So what you're going to do now is fit these together to make one long structure. and you may have to sand these a little bit, but I'm not gluing this for the purpose of this instructional video because it does go to one of my customers, and I did have that backwards. That's why I wouldn't go in there. So I didn't glue this, so give me a little break on. So you'll make a long rectangular box. Now, these, you'll punch out this middle section here. It's the launch rail, and your 3D printed V1 will fit right on there. Now, if you look carefully, this end is wide, this end is narrow. So glue this on top of here. If you have any of those little sort of clothespin style spring clamps, or just some sort of woodworking clamps, or if you don't have that, even rubber bands, you might want to use that. So I recommend you let this dry and you clamp it to something flat, the edge of your table or workbench. Let that dry. All right. Later, we're going to glue these three pieces on top of these two pieces. So here's the next step after your glue is dry. I'd clamp that and let it dry and clamp it to something straight, whether it's a old 2x4, the edge of your table, or anything else. We really are using the 2, the 3, and the 2 to kind of give this platform some overlapping strength. Next thing you're going to do is take these detail pieces, there's 6 of them, and just glue 2 on each side with the little bolts facing outward. That's pretty obvious. And that'll just give your model a little bit of detail, and you'll do 3 on each side. Maybe you paint those before you put them on. That's really up to you. Next thing you'll do is take your 3 handrail pieces that should fit right into these holes here, and take your end piece, stick it on. Remember, we're not gluing because we do want to save this kit. Then the final step, these 2 little detail pieces, they go on the end here. And if you look at it, kind of looks like a Colonel Sanders bow tie. It goes in that direction there. You'll want to square it up. Again, we're not gluing this kit just to kind of save it. Last step, fit these support pieces in here, place them underneath the rail in order of height. There is a little room for you to kind of adjust that however you see fit. I would not glue this to the top of your model. That way when you're done gaming for the day, you can box this up pretty easily. This is not meant to come apart, but these are. You could take a piece of scrap and glue it to the bottom of here and kind of make a bracket for that to go into if you want to. But I've found that most tables with a mat or something on them, you might not want that in the same spot every time, but it is something you can do. That's the assembly for our V1 launch rail. If you got any questions, let us know. Check out all of our other products on fatherandsongaming.org.